Hello, I'm Ray Eldridge. I'm Dean of the College of Business at Lipscomb University. And it's my pleasure to introduce Dewayne Scott. Dewayne has many roles. He's an author, he's a visionary business leader, he's an entrepreneur, he's started 2 companies, he's currently president of the TDS and Associates. And that's how we've worked together recently with his role as a consultant and as he's worked with our faculty and staff, and particularly in the area of culture. And I think this is so important that we want to share it with you. He brings in a very unique mix, passion for business and passion for God. And I think you'll see that come out through these videos. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Dewayne Scott, author of the book, Stepping Outside Your Comfort Zone. I'm delighted to share with you some thoughts and nuggets from that book. And I think it's appropriate that I start with the foundation of it, which is the invisible fence. So the invisible fence is like the parable that sets this whole book up. And I'm sure you've seen an invisible fence in process, if you will. Take my drawing here of the dog, okay? Most of the time you'll see an invisible fence installed where they take a device and put it on an animal's neck, most of the time a dog, and then they'll bury a line around the ground and cover it up, and they'll have flags all around this particular area where the line's buried. And what that dog will learn is there's a mild shock that it receives if it goes outside that area where the flags are. And then after a few weeks, they will remove some of the flags, and the dog will sort of test areas where the flags are not. And then the very last step is there's a flag at each of the 4 corners of that fence. And you may see that dog one last time sort of test that boundary, but then it understands what its boundaries are, and it stays there. Now, why do owners purchase invisible fences for their animals? Primarily, it's to protect them. It's to keep them safe. So everything inside of that fence is safe for the dog, and the bad things, it keeps it from being affected by it. This book is based upon a parallel with that very fundamental sort of thought. Individuals, you and I have invisible fences, and for the sake of this book, I'm going to call it our comfort zone, okay? So in our comfort zone, just like the animal, if you will, it's where we feel safe. In our comfort zone, it's what we know. We can almost do whatever that activity is with our eyes closed. We've done it so many times. It's very natural to us. It's very comfortable to us. But you know something that's interesting, just like the animal, you know, it's been proven and documented, the more that animal gets closer to its line of demarcation, its blood pressure goes up, its heart rate goes up. There's an anxiety that takes place as that animal gets closer and closer to that line, because it knows that there's pain associated with that. You know, we're like that as well. We have our comfort zone. We enjoy those comfort zones. And the more we get closer to being pushed outside of that, the anxiety goes up, the stress goes up, our blood pressure and just our heart rate go up. So we experience the same physiological type of challenges that an animal does. And it's interesting. What I want to sort of share some thoughts with you is, you don't just have one comfort zone, you have multiple you have many comfort zones. You and I both. Individuals have comfort zones, okay? Couples have comfort zones in what they do in their activities as well. Congregations will establish comfort zones that congregation is comfortable, things that they're comfortable doing, things that they're not comfortable doing. And you know what? Start moving them towards something not comfortable and you'll experience the anxiety. It doesn't matter what the category is. Leadership, even leaderships have comfort zones. Organizations, this is a very broad, applicable sort of concept. And this book is going to sort of speak to that, and I hope that as you look at it and consider, it can help you to look at yourself in some ways that maybe you haven't before. Because here's my assumption, is that God is constantly allowing our comfort zones to be stretched. Because it's outside that comfort zone where growth takes place. It's outside that comfort zone where new opportunities, new insights, new discoveries about your faith and your walk and your relationship with God and others takes place. It doesn't happen inside of that. It happens outside that comfort zone. And as we look at this sort of thought, I want you to think about this. Your Creator is constantly stretching us to stretch our faith, if you will. And your stretched faith, your new discoveries are going to happen outside of what you know right now, not inside that comfort zone. You see, God is, I believe this. I've come to this after 58 years of living myself. I've come to the conclusion that God is more concerned about my character development than my comfort. I want to be comfortable. I want to kind of do what's easy and not the hard thing, but he knows the way that I grow and the way I mature is being stretched outside that comfort zone. I used the example many times of like a football field. Think about God himself being in the press box and looking down on the field of your life, and he's allowing you to be stretched on the 20 because he knows when the 40 gets there, you're going to need a skill set that you don't have right now. So he can see the whole, and we read that through Scripture, through Psalms and other verses where we know he can see my whole life laid out, and he knows what I need and why I need it. I've got to have faith to trust in him, just as Job did. Job did not understand everything was taking place. And he's a man that went from riches to rags to riches again. I believe each and every one of us have a faith walk that's unique just to us, and that will mean being stretched outside our comfort zone. Now, so in the coming videos, I'm going to talk to you about some of the things that keeps us inside that comfort zone and some of the things that will help us to be stepping outside of it. I want to sort of close with a final thought. As we look at this comfort zone and experience and start talking about the pain of it, we have to understand that we've got to be able to embrace the pain. You know, matter of fact, one of the laws of life is no pain, no gain. Okay, you're going to find that true as we talk about stepping outside the comfort zone. So as we close this particular session, think about the invisible fence. Every time you say invisible fence, I want you to think about your comfort zone and let that resonate with you. And as we close this particular session, I want you to think about this. Go out and don't just look for a blessing. You look to be a blessing. Thanks.
Scott Sager here, Vice President for Church Relations, wanting to say thank you to Dewayne Scott for these excellent presentations on stepping outside your comfort zone. I know you want to get a copy of this book, and to do so, you can go to DewayneScott.com. And while you're there, you might look around and you'll notice there's lots of other resources that are available there too. You can find a place where you can sign up for executive coaching for your congregation or nonprofit leadership. You can also sign up for a Zoom webinar for your entire congregation where you can work for a couple of hours with Dewayne in helping your congregation learn how to take the next step in stepping outside the comfort zone. These are such critical times in the life of our church. I hope that you'll gain these resources so that we can be better equipped as congregations to look like Jesus Christ, stepping outside our comfort zone and making a difference in the world by being a blessing and not just looking for one. Thanks, Dewayne. We're so grateful, and we look forward to hearing from you again soon.